Day 316 of the Daily Stoic. It's not the thing, it's what we make of it. Quote, when you are distressed by an external thing, it's not the thing itself that troubles you, but only your judgment of it. And you can wipe this out at a moment's notice. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 8.47. Imagine you've dreamed of a life in politics. You're young, you're vigorous, you've held increasingly powerful positions over the course of your career. Then at 39, you start to feel run down. Your doctors tell you you have polio and your life will never be the same. Your career is over, right? This is a story of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, now widely regarded as one of America's greatest political leaders. He was, at middle age, diagnosed with polio after spending years preparing for and dreaming about the presidency. It's impossible to understand FDR without understanding this disability, this external thing that he was crippled. This was a literal fact, but his judgment of it was that it did not cripple his career or his personhood. Though he was certainly the victim of a then incurable disease, he wiped away almost immediately the victim's mentality. Let's not confuse acceptance with passivity. I don't think that I have to go very far to remind you that we now live in a world of victim mentality. Now, what has been interesting is that this victim mentality has been slowly creeping into the social strata and the social apparatus around us, and has probably hit its peak recently in terms of its marketability and viability as a worldview and model for life in the world. And why do I say this? Is because we have seen over the last, let's say, starting in 2012, 13, 14 time periods or so, we began seeing this growth of a victim mentality in these oppression Olympics where whoever could be the most oppressed and whoever could claim the most oppression from the world, whether it's prejudice or some permutation of prejudice, however they want to say it. Regardless, whoever is the most oppressed can receive the most victimhood and can receive the most social juju of how oppressed they are and how we need to help this people group, this subset of a niche people group that is real, but from a numerical standpoint, so insignificant that it's fascinating how much media coverage we have over these very niche subgroups of our culture that for some reason can create massive amounts of media influence and, interestingly enough, be able to begin to move policy. And so we've seen this rise of the oppression Olympics. We've seen this rise of victimhood all the way into the world of 2020, 2021, 2022, and now 2023. But I believe that victimhood has kind of reached its peak because we've had new content creators and influencers and people that have come out that have said, no, you're not a victim. You have personal responsibility. No, you're not a victim. You have choice. No, you're not a victim. You have the ability to change your world. No, you're not a victim. You can do it. You can be it. You can overcome it. And I think the narrative is beginning to shift because it is no longer monetizable in the general sense, I believe. Victimhood is not a monetizable feature or model as much as it used to be. And I think it's just simply because people are getting tired of people complaining all the time. And when it comes to activists in the world actually don't do anything. They just yell and scream and get paid to do that. And the only ones that are actually winning in activism are the activists themselves, while everyone else is out there in the crowds and in those places with the boards and the t-shirts and screaming at the top of their lungs. Like, activism in many cases is just a scam. It's just a scam, right? These activists take advantage of the good intentions and care of people, and they rally them and they get them all hyped up to give them money, the activists money, and then the volunteers go out and do all this activism while not getting paid. When you are distressed by an external thing, it's not the thing itself that troubles you, but only your judgment of it, and you can wipe this out at a moment's notice. You're not a victim. You've had some shit happen to you. You're not a victim. You've had life constraints. You're not a victim. You never were. And in most cases, you rarely are. And because you're not a victim, it means that you can do amazing things in this life. Just like FDR. Just because times are tough now doesn't mean they'll be tough in the future. Let's not confuse acceptance with passivity. You have to be active and involved in your life. You have to want to build out of the hole that you're in. I hope you're not in a hole, but I'll tell you, acting like a victim is a lose-lose-lose. See you in Discord, MetaFan.